How do you always notice the little things everyone else misses, as if your eyes are tuned to the hidden soul of the world? You see the cracks in people's smiles, the unsaid words, the invisible battles. They pass unnoticed by the rest of us. While everyone else walks past, you pause, and suddenly the world's secrets are laid bare before your quiet gaze. How is it that your attention pierces the surface, finding truth in what the ordinary eye refuses to see? You catch the soft tremor in someone's voice, the fleeting glance of sadness, small, invisible stories no one else hears. Even when the world chooses ignorance, you notice the whispers of life hidden between the noise. You see the unnoticed beauty in chaos, the broken hearts masked by laughter, the subtle poetry in mundane moments. While others overlook, you perceive. Your soul seems wired to find meaning where everyone else sees emptiness. How do you always sense what is unsaid, what is hidden in shadows, as if the world speaks only to you? You notice the hands that tremble behind the curtain, the eyes that betray sorrow no one else acknowledges. While the crowd glances past, you observe, capturing moments no one else has the courage to see. There is a magic in the way you notice the invisible threads connecting hearts, even when others ignore them. You see what is fragile, what is overlooked, and in your gaze, the unnoticed suddenly becomes sacred. How do you always catch the glimmer of truth behind pretense, the real emotion hidden under facades? Even in a room full of noise, you hear the softest sighs, the subtle cries that others miss. Your eyes are tuned to the invisible, the silent, the unspoken. Where ordinary attention fails, you succeed. While people chase the obvious, you linger in shadows and discover worlds unseen by hurried hearts. How do you always find the story behind the silence, the meaning hidden in moments others discard? You notice the tremor of fear in a laugh, the spark of hope in weary eyes, details the world ignores. In a sea of distraction, you anchor yourself to the subtle, the delicate, the quietly profound. How is it that you see what others overlook? The small acts of courage, the invisible kindnesses. You sense the invisible battles people fight, and somehow your awareness gives their struggles recognition. You notice the cracks in the perfectly painted walls, the truth hidden behind polished smiles. How do you always catch the fleeting moments of vulnerability that others rush past? While people are distracted by noise, you notice the gentle echoes that reveal hidden truths. You see the beauty in imperfections, the meaning in silence, the depth in fleeting glances. How is it that your gaze lingers on what others discard, finding significance in forgotten fragments? You notice the invisible tears, the quiet resilience, the silent whispers of the soul. While others rush, you pause, and suddenly the overlooked moments bloom with clarity and purpose. You catch the subtle shifts in energy, the hidden pains, the secret joys invisible to most. How do you always perceive what is buried under layers of indifference, unseen by ordinary sight? You see the overlooked acts of bravery, the unnoticed sacrifices, the quiet struggles of hearts. Even in a crowded room, you find the unnoticed gestures that speak louder than words. How is it that your attention uncovers what is hidden in plain sight, making the invisible visible? You notice the unspoken words, the gestures of love, the moments of honesty others ignore. While everyone else overlooks, you witness, giving meaning to the ignored and the unseen. You find poetry in the unnoticed, beauty in the overlooked, life in the ignored moments. How do you always sense the emotions that hide behind facades, the truth beneath pretense? You see the fragility in strength, the pain behind smiles, the courage hidden in silence. While people pass by, you linger, capturing details the world considers insignificant, but are essential to life. You notice the gentle tremor of doubt, the subtle spark of joy, the hidden stories of hearts. How is it that your gaze pierces through superficiality, revealing the depth in what's overlooked? You see the unnoticed kindness, the quiet struggles, the small triumphs no one else applauds. Even when the world ignores, you recognize the silent beauty waiting patiently to be seen. How do you always find the hidden threads connecting people, moments, and emotions? You see the unspoken connections, the invisible scars, the stories written in glances. While others glance past, you linger, discovering the unnoticed poetry of life. You perceive the invisible battles, the small victories, the hidden sorrows others choose to ignore. How is it that you find meaning in the shadows where others fear to look? You notice the invisible wounds, the subtle courage, the silent strength hidden from view. You notice the trembling hope in a weary heart, the hidden light in someone lost in shadows. While others overlook, you linger, finding beauty in what the world calls insignificant. How do you always sense the subtle shifts in energy, the invisible pull of emotions? You see the untold stories behind tired eyes, the unspoken grief masked by smiles. Even when the world chooses blindness, your gaze uncovers the truths hiding in silence. You perceive the gentle courage that hides behind fear, the quiet victories unnoticed by all. How is it that your attention rests on what others call trivial, yet holds infinite meaning? You notice the lingering shadows of past pain, the traces of love that never faded. While everyone else walks by, you pause, capturing moments that whisper secrets of the soul. You see the fragile beauty in brokenness, the hidden strength in vulnerability. How do you always perceive what others miss? The delicate patterns of life's invisible threads. You notice the unspoken apologies, the gestures of longing, the subtle signs of unrecognized care. Even when the world rushes past, your eyes linger, finding hidden stories in quiet corners. You see the invisible scars etched on hearts, the silent courage behind trembling hands. While others overlook, you recognize the sacred rhythm hidden in life's unnoticed moments. How is it that you find the poetry in the mundane, the music in silent gestures? You notice the fleeting glances that betray secrets, the hidden tremors of emotion. Even in a room full of people, you catch the invisible loneliness no one else sees. You see the unnoticed spark of hope, the subtle acts of bravery tucked away in silence. How do you always sense what lies beneath, the depth hidden beneath everyday appearances? You notice the quiet moments where love lingers, unnoticed but deeply alive. While others ignore, your attention uncovers the soul behind the surface. You perceive the invisible weight people carry, the silent battles that go unseen. How is it that your gaze turns the overlooked into something unforgettable? You see the hidden warmth in gestures no one else acknowledges, the subtle courage in stillness. Even in chaos, you notice the fragile threads connecting people, moments, and emotions. While everyone else glances past, you capture the invisible poetry of existence. You see the trembling truth behind composed smiles, the hidden pain beneath laughter. How do you always perceive the world's unnoticed symphony, playing quietly for only you? You notice the gentle struggles, the secret joys, the invisible threads of love surrounding us. Even when ignored by the world, your awareness brings life to the invisible. You see the tiny sparks of hope in despair, the silent acts of kindness everyone overlooks. How is it that your eyes find meaning where others see emptiness? You notice the quiet resilience that hides behind fear, the unseen victories in invisible battles. While others overlook, your gaze lingers, revealing the extraordinary in ordinary moments. You see the hidden tears, the silent laughter, the subtle pulse of life, unnoticed by all. How do you always catch the whispers of truth in the cacophony of daily noise? You notice the unnoticed gestures of love, the subtle connections that shape our souls. Even in darkness, your awareness illuminates the invisible threads of life. You see the hidden strength in fragile hearts, the courage tucked in silent moments. While everyone else is blind to the small wonders, you perceive the world's quiet magic. You notice the unseen details that reveal the depth and essence of people around you. How is it that your attention turns the ordinary into profound stories of existence? You see the beauty in overlooked moments, the truth in shadows no one dares to see. Even when life rushes by, your gaze lingers on what truly matters. You notice the invisible pain, the subtle hope, the quiet love in every corner. How do you always perceive what others refuse to acknowledge? The life beneath appearances. You see the unrecognized efforts, the quiet joys, the invisible acts of bravery around you. While others glance past, your attention honors what the world ignores. You notice the trembling courage, the unseen struggles, the invisible poetry of daily life. How is it that your awareness transforms hidden truths into something unforgettable? You see the delicate beauty in broken souls, the hidden spark in silent hearts. Even when ignored, your attention gives recognition to the unseen and unacknowledged. You notice the subtle connections, the invisible threads, the quiet symphony of life unnoticed by all. How do you always find meaning where everyone else sees nothing? You see the invisible stories etched in fleeting glances, silent gestures, and trembling hands. While others rush past, your eyes capture the soul of life, hidden in plain sight.